Welcome to come to Barcelona. I know that it was not so hard to come to Barcelona with this wonderful weather and the sea and the mountains and all the monuments of Barcelona. So this is like the gift that the tea construction will give to you at the end of our story. This second training school is about bridging transport equity. Please keep these 3 words because they are the hashtag for the tweet. So please use this hashtag for putting all the news, all the picture you will catch during the training school. And we try to work on a real life lab using the subject that we identify for the working group. So, of course, all people I think that know me. I'm Floridea, chairing this construction during 4 long years. But it was very pleasure for me to do that. Thank you. The objective of the second training school, we had the first one in Thessaloniki. Always we found some nice place with the sea. This is in the Mediterranean, so we are very lucky. The objective of this second training school is to bring together different data, evidence in the new assessment framework. We start with some objective on the cost action. It was like to revise the assessment framework for a transport project, and we try to give some answer, okay, in some way. And then the idea is to catch transport people needs, that now is quite common in the call proposal of European Union, but I think that 4 years ago was not so common. And then to try to contribute to the T-cost guidelines, focus on assessing equity for transport and try to understanding travel impacts on people. This is second point, is very key point, and maybe was a little bit less developed during these 4 years, but we need to put some ground for going on. All these specific objectives are related with the main objectives of the transport and equity cost action that were to establish a methodology for exploring the links between transport needs and the distributional factors, to develop new transport evaluation criteria for transport needs, and to devise a methodology for embedding equity in assessment framework of investment and project. So this training school will be organized in 6 working groups. 3 of them are more oriented to empirical data treatment, quantitative approach, GIS analysis, quali-quantis data. And then the working group 3 will be more oriented to explore a theoretical approach for equity assessment, needs versus utility function. And working group 5 and 6 have both a transport policy objective and try to exploring what is done and how it could be done. The output of the training school should be 3. At least 3 were identified, but we can add new unexpected outputs as well. So contributing to an open access web platform. This is the first event that will be filmed and put on YouTube. This was funded by the grant of T-Construction out of the T-Construction grant. So this is just for dissemination, for keeping the results and the group together afterwards. Attracting new researchers, planners, and transport as well on urban services and social goods. The idea is to try to enlarge not only to the transport community, but as well to the other communities like social scientist communities and social planners. And to consolidate the transport equity action community. This is the program. So today we have a quite intense program with a presentation, and then we start with the work group, etc. We have as well 2 social events. To this afternoon at 7, we meet. I hope that all of you will come, or most of you will come. We meet on the Parallel, on the Metro Parallel, and we will visit the Barcelona, where more initiative about the urban model and transport were done, and what needs to be done still. With the Francesc Magrignan. Francesc Magrignan is one of the co-organizers of this event. He could not be here this morning because there is another event on the tramway in Polytechnical School of Catalonia. So it's not here, but we met him. We will meet him this afternoon. And then the second social event will be the social dinner tomorrow night at 8:30, I think, in the Bio Center, a very good vegetarian restaurant in Barcelona, in the Raval, a very nice place. Some of you already know this because we stay in the Residencia of researchers. So this is the place. Concerning the organization of the groups, we have 6 working group with 4 or 5 trainees. We will have, normally we will have some responsible for each group, but the idea, the different idea for this training school is to keep like tea corner with the trainers, where all groups can exchange with the trainees or the trainers of other working groups and so on. So it's just to keep more in a more convivial way all the training school. And then at noon of the second day, the objective of your work will be to write or to define like the key lines of what you produce, what you were thinking about more than produce, thinking about during your work group activities. The idea is really to think, to come with your ideas and to put together with the rest. So this is, don't stress about this. So we include a complementary proposal for each selected subject. And in the afternoon, you will present your work, and we will have a nice discussion, an open debate with the audience, with some of us and some external people. And then during the conference, the winner will be group will be prized, but it's okay. We will award it, but this is not the important thing. The important thing is to stay here and to enjoy. Like Karel said, we need to make like a party for this last cost events. So this is the main idea. So I leave the floor to Karel Martens, and I leave you to present your session, to start your part.
Good morning. If you do something reasonably well, you can always ask to do it another time. So for those who are in Thessaloniki, they remember that I did this round of introductions in my style. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have it again. So let me start by introducing myself for those who don't know me yet. My name is Karel Martens. As you can hear from my accent in English, I'm Dutch. And maybe in a few years you will hear another accent in my English, which will be Israeli, because I'm living in Israel at the moment and working at the Technion, and where also my colleague Joram is working, but we're not in the same faculty. And as you might also know, I've written a book on transport and justice, which has been my contribution, and both to the cost action, but also what have come out of the cost action in a way, because on the past 4 years, by sharing discussions and thoughts with you, I've also enriched my own thinking and been able to produce that book. So cost actions can be very productive, even if it's not directly linked to what you do in the workshops, in the meetings, and in the training schools. So far for my introduction, and now we're just going to walk around and ask you questions, who you are, where you're from, and what are you doing, not whether you're now renovating your house, but you're doing a PhD, a master, or this kind of thing, or what is the topic, and one open thing, one thought. So one thought on transport you have at the moment, and if you don't have a thought, you can also ask a question to the next person. We're not going to know who that person will be, because I'm just going to walk around and ask the next person to say his or her name. And so I will start with my thought, my observation, just to give you an impression of what I'm looking for. When I read, and I don't spend too much time scrolling the internet, I think it's terribly boring, but what I do read is things about transport. I always read about transport. That's what I am, that's what I do, that's what I love. Everybody for his own defects. I see lots of good things happening in cities. You know, New York is putting bike paths, Paris has its bike sharing system, free bus lanes there, light rail there. And then I arrive to these places, and what do I see? Cars, cars, and more cars. Yes, it's happening, but it's happening very slow everywhere. And I think it's partly because we are just in the beginning of our mission. We have to give a much stronger footing to social issues in transport if we want to change that landscape. Because we have to understand we have to provide a transport system that serves all, and only if you realize this really from the very start, if we train our students in universities, we will have very different cities. And in 10 years' time, I will hopefully visit cities and see less cars and more bikes and more people in buses. So that's my thought. The big discrepancy between what we're trying to sell as cities, how successful we've been, and actually what's happening on the ground, how long journey it will be. Which is good news, plenty of work for us. It's also sometimes depressing. So I'm just going to walk around and the good thing also is that I know most of you, but I'm so bad in names that I don't know who is who anymore. So thanks for giving me the opportunity. There you go.
So my question is going to be, what is my name? No. Okay. I'm Giulia. I work as a researcher in a research institute in Torino. My background is as an architect, so I'm not a transport planner. And in the last years I worked a lot about equity, health impacts, and inequalities of both urban structure and transport. So that's why I'm here. I'm already at my second training school from this construction. And my thought? When you were saying your thought, I was also thinking that, in my opinion, we are still too far from the people, and we should understand better what is behind their choices of travel modes and how do they value it, why do they take the car so much. We still need to understand it better and to find a way to go straight to the people.
Thanks a lot. I will refrain from responding. This is a wonderful room except for the steps, because I can walk everywhere between all of you. So there you go.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Javier. I am doing a PhD in the Transport Research Center at the Polytechnic University of Madrid. And my background is forestry engineer, but I am working with urban fragmentation and pedestrian mobility now. Urban fragmentation. Yeah. My thought is a bit early, but maybe that there is no city without pedestrians, or.
It wasn't so obvious, I think, 20, 30 years ago, that observation, that there are no cities without pedestrians. I'm just reading now Carmen Hasklaus' book on the pedestrian and the city, and it's amazing to see what planners, and I'm an urban planner, so I can just complain about my own profession, have contributed to making cities worse. I mean, the idea of having separated traffic for cars and pedestrians actually came more from the planners and from the civil engineers, and the civil engineers just adopted that idea and then pushed the pedestrians away altogether. Jeroen! Somebody I didn't forget.
So you do know my name. Yeah. So my name is Jeroen Bastiaanse. I study in ITS Leeds nowadays. And my question, because I didn't give that much thought actually. One thing actually we need to do is stop focusing only on the city centers, I would say, and concentrate all our transport policies and transport investments on those city centers, but also on the suburbs and so on, and the outskirts of the cities. And I was wondering actually how we could do that, because specifically in these outskirts and so on, we have people living, particularly in low income and so on. So how can we make sure that we have these bicycle schemes, we have these bus lanes and so on, also in the outskirts, and getting people from there to the suburban jobs, for instance, and not always in the city centers? That would be my thought or my critique.
You're quite awake, I would say. Yeah. You should tell me where I can get a coffee. I didn't get it.
All right, I'm John. I'm a researcher right now at the University of Twente in the Netherlands, and I'm researching job accessibility in relationship with equity in a couple of different cities. And my question would be, if we're trying to improve people, we had a conversation last night with Rafael and Koos, and one of the things we were talking about is how do we balance between like a paternalistic approach where we tell people this is what's good for you, and people telling you that like they're okay. So a lot of times people have limited expectations. So like if you ask them directly, are you happy with this, this, and this, they tell you they're happy. So how do you balance like respecting them for what they say they want and saying this is actually not what's best?
Interesting. Links to a web lecture I saw. Now you think I'm spending all my life watching the internet about people living in informal settlements in Istanbul, and it's not so informal as you think. It's actually houses building in bricks and concrete. Was somebody actually from Africa? But anyway, so informal housing is everywhere. What was the point of the lecture? Point 1 and point 2 was people are happy there because informality creates freedom. You're just detached from all the systems which you are entangled in if you live in a formal house with all the regulations and rules and so forth. And it links very much to the idea of paternalism. To me it seems like, it's no way to live without a shower and all the basic facilities in your home. We should do something, but maybe we shouldn't. There you go.
Hi, I'm Sara. I am working in Zenit with Floridea, and I'm doing my PhD about the new paradigm of urban mobility in Barcelona. And my thought maybe is that we have to have always in mind that we are planning for people. Sometimes the engineers around me forget that, and they are only thinking in optimizing. So that's my thought.
Good thought. And what is the new mobility paradigm in Barcelona? You don't know. You're going to create it. Wonderful.
I was trying to hide. You know me well, so. I'm Claire Papex. I did my PhD at IFSTAR, a French research institute in Paris with Ariane, who is next to Florida, normally here. And I looked at the implementation of sustainable urban mobility policies. And so I considered an equity perspective when evaluating different range of policy scenario. So now I'm working in another place in London, and I think my thought for today is something that we have started actually with Julia in front of me. I'm not too sure which direct links it could have with equity, but it's on the relationship between transport and well-being. So I think after equity, this opened many new ideas. After all this question I had with transport and equity, I think an interesting thing could be to look at the wider perspective, like the links between transport and the contribution of transport in the well-being of people and the life satisfaction, and the other way around. So we are exploring these links, and maybe we could see which implication for equity actually. Yeah, but this is a new perspective coming out from this action. Thank you.
Thanks. Let's also ask a trainer to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Becky. I'm from Tel Aviv. I'm a returning student after many years of practice, so I'm now doing my doctorate. And it's about well-being and transport. And it comes out of TEA also from here. I think the ideas inspired me. And my thought is not at all, I think, related particularly to what we're going to discuss, but what I really loved about coming here this morning was the universality in some ways of the way we organize transport, but also the particularities that made it so interesting to look at the differences in the particular solutions. So it's something to think about.
How our practice of teaching our students actually can be seen on the ground, of course, because knowledge transfers and then through the students gets to the floor. Your turn.
Thank you. So I'm Jesper. I'm from Denmark, Technical University of Copenhagen, of Denmark in Copenhagen. I'm doing my PhD there in public transport planning, mostly. And my thought would be that I have a strong interest in public transport, and I did this project with Floridea, and that's why I'm here now, where we looked into how different modes satisfy human needs, not only looking into traditionally level of service parameters, but how can we make public transport be even more attractive so it fulfills not only transporting people from A to B, but also that it fulfills some other needs that people have when they choose their travel mode, which we know or now from car travel and from bicycle that it also fulfills other needs than only transporting people from A to B.
Just a little pool. Who has a civil engineering background here? You can. You don't have to be ashamed. I learned to respect them along the way. It took me some years. Who has an urban planning background? There's nothing to be ashamed of at all. Although we were then to blame for the terrible cities we built in the 60s. Who has a social science background, not being urban planning? Okay. Who has philosophy as a background? Ah, okay. I'm missing some things, or I can't count. Who has a mathematics or physics, chemistry background? You're economist. Ah, you're mathematics. So who is an economist? Ah, okay. So what did I miss? Computer. And I brought you here. How could I forget you? So, I give you the opportunity to take the stage.
My name is Yoav Lerman. I have a PhD in urban planning, geography, my expertise in pedestrian movement and accessibility analysis. I will be helping Karel in work group 2. We're doing a project on justice and transportation. And I'm also an independent consultant in Israel on urban planning, regional planning. And my thought is how most of the time this, like the place we're sitting now, the Metropolitan Agency, they usually are located in places like this, which are, it's like probably the most accessible place in Metropolitan Barcelona, but it's completely motorized access. And also whenever you meet national or metropolitan agencies in Israel, they're always like in places like this where you really have to bring your car. And that's the question. And that's where decisions are made on accessibility. So it's my question, how common is this happening in Europe, in the US, and other places where the agencies that make these decisions are located in I'd say not the most accessible places.
Yeah, land prices determine, of course. And a Belgian colleague, probably Koos knows him, and you can introduce yourself in a minute, Koos, who wrote the perspective from the front window. That's how decision makers perceive the world. They're always driving in a car. And so there's a double front window perspective. It's not only they drive a car, but they drive a car to suburban places, and that's how they perceive the world, and that's how they shape the world. So indeed, the location has a message. Koos.
I'm Koos. I work at the University of Ghent as a PhD student, and my topic is on accessibility in Flanders, and maybe more specific, how temporal restrictions and time use also shapes accessibility differently from just spatial measures. I'm not sure, should I answer his question or should I give my own thought? Because to answer his question, in Belgium it's kind of okay. The bigger agencies, they are situated, normally they are situated close to a railway station. So, for example, in Ghent, it's all situated around the railway station, so that's good. But my own thought that I wanted to say is that, in answer to your remark, so it's true that we're going very slowly, but what I do see increasing very fast is the participatory process. So in Belgium, there's a lot of projects that are contested by civilians or civilian groups or local groups. And I think that's a good thing because they question the way policy looks at a very car-based or has a very car-based view on transport projects. And I think civilians are kind of getting sick of the fact that it's very car-based and they want it differently. So that's my thought.
Youth always bring optimism. Good to hear, Koos. But it's true that, of course, what stopped the big road building schemes in the 60s was citizen uprising, basically, in the US and Holland and other places around the world. Gali.
Hi, nice to meet everyone. My name is Gali. I'm from the Technion in Israel. Actually, you just spoke, Goose, right? You just spoke about what I wanted to think. It's really interesting to see how transportation changes or not changes fast enough. And with Karel, we think about bicycles and their way to make places more accessible. But I'm an activist, and my thought is, how does the community, how does it affect on these processes that we're planning from, like, above in a way? How does the community affect? How can it affect? How do you make it affect these processes?
Thanks. I got strict instructions from Floridea to speed it up. So your name, your country, but I don't give up on the thought. Okay?
Thank you. We'll be fast. Beatriz Mella. Oh yeah, I know. I'm doing my PhD in the Barcelona School of Planning, UCL. I've been working in transport equity, particularly in how can we incorporate new approaches to transport assessment. I'm particularly working with capability approach, and my thought, I've been lately thinking on diversity. How can we incorporate diversity in terms of diversity of users, diversity of activities and opportunities for those users, diversity of land use, and diversity of disciplines. So all of them together involved in this project assessment for transport. Yeah, it was fast.
It's in the eye of the beholder. More diversity, so you want to enrich even the literature more. Okay.
Okay. Hello, I'm Labrini. I'm the University of Leeds, ITS. I just started my PhD there, and I'm working on appraisal for sustainable urban mobility planning. My thought that has to do with my PhD is that some of these sustainable policies create conflicts between ecological sustainability and social sustainability, and that the appraisal should reflect that, and that we should be able to identify policies that can combine these positive effects.
Thank you. I'm not remarking, it saves too much time. Miguel.
Hi, I'm Miguel. I'm from Ecuador. I'm studying at Technion. I did my research on how culture of the community affects transportation, and I'm interested on that. And what is the approach, and how can we, if we can improve the culture, we change in transportation, or we change transportation to improve the culture, and how that is happening in the city of the next person who is going to be asked.
It was a difficult question, so I'm going to give it to, I know you, I forgot your name.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Benoît Cornu. I come from Paris. I am a TIFF star. I'm finishing my PhD, and the subject is about the pig car hypothesis. And concerning the inequalities, I'm looking at the social diffusion of car in the population, and especially I look at spatial and income inequalities. And my thoughts, it's linked to my work is that many people are constrained in their mobility, in particular in peripheral areas, because of the car dependency. There are no alternatives to travel. So how could we favorize the diversity of options of travel to reinforce the access of people, in particular in peripheral areas, because there are often a problem of economic burdens for certain kinds of populations.
Thank you. How many people did not? Yeah, I know, but hands up so I know how many to go.
Hi, I'm Rafael Pereira. I'm doing a PhD in transport geography at the University of Oxford in the UK. I'm working on distributive justice and the impact of new transport investments in social spatial inequalities and access to opportunities and capabilities approach and on. And my quick thought is that many, if not most of the difficulties that people have in using the public transport system or transport in general rely in very subtle interactions between their bodies and the physical environment or information. And there's very small different challenges that people face. We don't have, most of the times we don't have any information on, just based on conventional travel surveys or urban planning databases and this kind of stuff. So I think most of the equity challenges we face in transportation equity rely on questions that we cannot, right now, we cannot really measure with conventional data. And that's a big challenge that I think we should be thinking forward.
You mean we don't know enough about all the little travel impairments people have that hinder their movement? Yeah. Okay, good point.
Hello, I'm Ana. I come from Madrid, like Javier. I'm doing my PhD there in the Transport Research Center. My thesis is on cycling mobility, and well, I was thinking about how to make good intentions actual behaviors.
Hi everyone, I'm Maurizio. I came from Naples, and I have the opportunity to study for my final work of the master, because I'm not a researcher like everyone, with Floridea. And my thesis was about the accessibility, social equity, and social inclusion. And my thought is about when I think about my city, Naples, everyone is a very difficult city for. Only for also for the traffic, and but it's a city that is trying to make a change, no? And the opportunities are growing up, they are increasing the opportunity, but the difficulty is in the mind of the customer. So because when we have to make a transportation movement, we only think about cars. So how we can change the mind of the customer? How we can make the possibility to make them understand that there are other type of transportation or other mode of transportation? Sorry for my English.
You're not optimistic about the intentions of people. They're not even there, you say.
Hi, I am Nelsa Borid, and I'm not a researcher, sorry, I have a real job. I'm an infrastructure and mobility specialist at Metropolitan Strategic Plan of Barcelona. And my thought today, I don't know, I don't know what I'm doing here, but it's okay. But all our researchers. And my thought today is how we will be able to apply all this knowledge to a real society or real cities.
Well, we have some people that do this, so we will get to that during the workshop somewhere. You are not.
Hello, my name is Anders. I'm from Sweden. I work as a consultant in transport economics and public transport. I think my thought is how public transport agencies, what what do they want to achieve, and how can they have to formulate the question for themselves that in what do they want to achieve, and how does public transport address this problem?
Wonderful. People are getting nervous, I see, and annoyed with me. That's taking too long. But anyway, you are important, so I'm giving you the word.
Hello, I am Pere from Barcelona. My background is civil engineer with a PhD in urban planning, and I've worked for several years as scholar researcher here in the Polytechnic University of Catalonia in urban economics and partially also in transport economics. And my thought is about the distributional impact of transport expenditures for families and households.
Affordability issue you're concerned about, right? Affordability. I'm going to skip the trainers to save time, because they have time to present themselves later on. And you're also a trainer, right? So, but you're not, so you can say something.
Hello everyone, I'm Maite Perez, I'm from Barcelona. I work in a public consortium in the Autónoma, in the University of Barcelona Autónoma. We are dealing with some of the main mobility surveys and living condition surveys in the region of Barcelona. My thought is how can we make possible that this information from living conditions and mobility patterns cross and make policies focused on special collectives that need some special mobility policies. That's it.
Thanks. Who did I forget? I thought so.
My name is Yuval. I studied philosophy, political science, and economics, and I'm working I'm from Israel. Studied at the Hebrew University, and I'm working at the Jerusalem Institute for Policy Research. And a question we're thinking about, for example, is what kind of policy can you use using public transportation to decrease inequalities and bring better integration of social groups which are not integrated in the city. For example, ultra-Orthodox in Jerusalem. That's it.
Very difficult case, I would say. Did I forget somebody else? One? Yes. I don't only forget names, I forget faces, I forget places, forget who I am.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Mariona. I'm from Barcelona. It's my first training school. And I am a geographer, and I work as a consultant in an engineering enterprise called Transfer Engineering, doing doing mobility plans. And my thought, okay, I think that mobility planners should be able to explain properly what we do and why we do it to the citizens. I think that is one of our weaknesses.
So you're not happy if they say there's congestion and you want to reduce congestion. It's not enough. It's very clear, isn't it? It's also very stupid, but... anybody else that wants to give a thought? No, the trainers were late. Anyway, I enjoyed hearing all your thoughts. Although we are running late, I think the cost-benefit analysis for me was positive. I got more out of it than I lost in terms of 10 minutes. So if you want to use this utilitarian perspective, it was successful in my perspective. I don't know how you feel about it. There's lots of rich ideas. I think they also quite bring us together. Maybe we don't have all the same worries, but we clearly think in the same direction. I think that's one of the benefits of this cost action, that we are creating a community that's actually going to, I hope, change transportation planning as we have done it till today. And you, the young generation, are going to do it for us.